What's up, chat? How we doing tonight? Hope everyone had an amazing day. Happy end of your Tuesday. Um, we are back at it, still fixing bugs, finding new ways to I guess scream at your computer sometimes, but also honestly, we're making good progress. So feel good about that, and just yeah, wanted to share with you some of the updates we made so far. I want to see it. So by the way, I trying a new theme tonight, so please give me your feedback on what you think about it. Just realized I have multiple groks on my screen at the same time. So yeah, been at it a little bit longer today, and just wanted to actually, now that we have a new theme, I should probably test to see if our audio is coming through as expected, because I'm learning that that's important to do. Very cool. Except now you can't hear the music, so sorry about that. All right, that's a little better. Cool. So the intro is not going to have music, but we're learning, chat. Yeah, but what do you think of the new themes or theme? It's a little darker, a little less jarring. The transition is still a little bit like yikes, but I don't know. I like the vibe. I just got to fix the transition part, because that's still like damn. But yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. Gotta add homie back here. Okay, Grok, thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. Yeah, chat. Good to see you today. Hope you're having an awesome day. We are making some good progress on all the things, and I'm not sure why chat box is how it is. Why are you the way you are, chat box? Let me test this quick. Okay, can't read that. Love it. Because it's hella small. Also good. I'm learning that streaming is a lot more complicated than I gave it credit for, to be honest. Not that I didn't like appreciate that it's tricky to do or anything, but it is yeah, it is not a simple process to do any of these things. So yeah, working on just kind of optimizing all of the things and trying to get it to a place where it's actually useful and seeing how everything looks is kind of crazy. So, but we're making progress, like I said. Let me just get this to a place where you can see it on. Wow, that looks shitty. Anyway, we'll figure that out. I honestly don't know why. It's like it's a text box that just shows text. Why is this hard? You know what I mean? Like some of the things that you think would be less tricky to do are just innately harder than they need to be. So hopefully we'll get it to the place where we can make things work in a meaningful way. But in the meantime, yeah, let's take a look at what we got cooking today and what we accomplished Yeah, that okay. The transition is obnoxious. I'll give you that. Um, but it's getting there. It's getting there, chat. So let me move Grok. I gotta test that. I added the ability to remove the listening thing, so we can check that quick. Oh my God! I'm sorry, chat. Your eyes, my eyes. It's very, very bright. So we're in the process of pushing a fairly crazy big bug fix combo. Reworked most of the marketing pages. We added a bunch of security items, so now all the inputs are sanitized properly. Cleaned up a lot of the routes to do more efficient calls on things, and also added some middleware to check the state for a little more simplicity. Cleaned up kind of the code base generally, and honestly, I've been doing a lot of testing with a bunch of different models today. So the first of which is Gemini Pro 3, or Gemini 3 Pro rather, just to see how smart it is and what it can do. And honestly, so far I've been really impressed with it. And what's crazy about it is like just that million row or the million context window is insane, chat. It's legitimately so helpful because look at it's gone through this so far and it's used up 115k tokens. Now, I don't think it's as crazy as that sounds because I was testing it with Codex over here, and when you close Codex, let me close this quick. Control C. Token usage total 996,000. Pretty cool, right? Of which, let's see here, 10 million cached. So we have 10 million cache tokens living in ChatGPT land. And the output was 101, and reasoning took up 51,000 of those tokens. So what I'm realizing is like Codex goes pretty hard, chat. Like that's a lot of tokens. And that's not even the biggest. Like I've probably asked it to do like 3 different features to get to that point. So that's pretty cool, right? That we have that flexibility, that we can kind of give it enough to just run with things. And also crazy how many are cached. I had no idea that we just used up 10 million tokens on this last little bit here, but I'm here for it. Cache tokens mean fast tokens, means you don't have to hit any limits, and I think it's just better for everybody. So I'm really grateful that they offer that as a possibility, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So I'm working on a bunch of, or actually I'm trying to push this to Vercel, and then I can show you some of these updates that we're cooking here. But I'm waiting for this npm build, or npm run build, which basically does what it's going to do when we commit this to GitHub, which then commits it to, or then sends it to Vercel, and it auto kicks off a build. But I want to make sure that we are ready to rock here. So one of the things that it was struggling with earlier was, like I said, I brought in that sanitize HTML. So basically now all the inputs are sanitized, which means that it strips out like HTML tags, and then, you know, we it's less likely that you can have like a SQL injection attack and those kind of things as part of it. So that's what it's cooking, but for some reason this is taking forever. So I'm gonna try to cancel this one and see if it can do it again. It's not as fast as Grok. Grok is probably the fastest still for like just raw tokens per second. But it's a thinker chat. You can tell like it thinks really, really well about things. And it's just fun to have another model that's just brilliant. Like Codex is brilliant. I was impressed with 2 pages that Claude Code put together today. And I've also been just really impressed with all these together. So I think we're in a good spot. But let's just tell it to run it one more time to confirm the build is successful. So yeah, chat, we're just going to be cooking on this for a little bit. I'm not sure if I like this light like that. Just want to make it a little, it's like kind of like in my eyes. I might throw it's literally just like a yellow, yellow like desk lamp. So I might have to throw one of those like cover things over it just so I'm not like seeing the sun in my eyes basically. But just streamer things, chat. I actually do have a like an LED light that you can set to different settings. So I'm gonna try that a little bit. I also want to try, there's like an auto green screen capability that you can do through NVIDIA. I've been playing with it a little bit. It's kind of fun, but still close to that. Okay, the build has completed successfully. Summary of actions identified the issue. The build was failing because page not found error /_document, which was a transient error likely caused by cache corruption or race conditions during the build process. The resolved dependencies replaced isomorphic DOM purify with sanitized tool to fix server-side rendering crashes crashes related to JS DOM. The clean build removed the .next directory to clear any corrupted build artifacts. So remember earlier today, chat, we were talking about how node underscore modules is a file or is a folder that you can remove as kind of part of the process to if you get a caching issue that you just don't understand, like because the code looks good but you're just still running into errors, like that's a good option to delete that. Also your .next file, and so that's what it said here. Remove the .next directory, .next directory here, which is like a cached version of all the UI items that Next uses for that. So with that said, it should be good to go for us to push this to Vercel. So let's do that quick here, and then I will show you the updates. It's going to take a minute since we have a metric buttload of changes to commit here. In chat, if this doesn't work, I might cry. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, okay. So what it did was, since we had 2 files already staged, remember like a couple days ago I mentioned that like you have to stage your files before you can commit changes? This is a good example of that. So since we have these 2 files staged, it will only, when you hit commit here, it will only send these 2 to GitHub. So, and I didn't realize that I had any staged files there, so it will probably still kick off a build on Vercel. So let's check that. It did not. Interesting. So let's stage all of our changes. Let's commit them and sync. Okay, so it didn't because you still have to sync these changes up to the GitHub server. So let's do that quick. Hope everyone had an amazing day, by the way. How's your day, chat? Did you do anything fun? Did you vibe code? Did you get outside at all? Hopefully all of the above. Yeah, let's actually, so while that's deploying, we can load up our local version here with npm run dev, and then I'm going to click our localhost 3000. So first thing first, added a new page called Meet Co-hosts, which shows kind of like our models in action here. Let's move Claude up here, or Grok up here. Okay, so basically this, just shows how it works, right? You build your team, you can change the this to use any of the avatars that we have. I am also going to add like a voice to this, so you can do that. But you can do that down here as well. So if you select one of these and then ask it a question, tell me a joke, chat, or ChatGPT. Okay, so we'll still work on that, but basically it's just a way to test and show like the functionality of it. And then we have a call to action down here, which is redundant. So let's remove that one. And then I'm just going to go to Claudius and say, remove this from the Meet Your Co-host page. Since it's redundant to have both of these call to actions right next to each other. But I think it's just a cool way to do it, right? You can get a little vibe with like what you can expect from them. I also am going to do kind of like a hero banner video for this top page here that just like, so this and then like a video here just to show it how it works. And I think the best, pictures tell 1,000 words. A video tells 1,000 times 60 frames per second. So it's a good way to do it. On the features, so I consolidated a bunch of these pages. I still want to update this page. It's a little bit too formal right now, but we'll get to there. Cleaned up the pricing page, made it super simple just to get to the place where you want to. And I think that's a good way to do it. I have a live demo page. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I'm hopeful that, once we get a couple streamers onboarded, we'll just link them to their streams and then you can see it in action using that. And I also added a change log too, by the way, so you can kind of see which we got to also update. So let's throw that to Grok. So Grok is free right now, by the way, too. So if you're using Cursor and you use Grok code, it says available for free for now. Update the change log with our recent updates and up the version to, we're at 1.2, chat. Let's go. Let's see, resources. So totally cleaned up the resources page. We'll take this out since that's not needed. Well, actually, no, this is our, so on the resources page, we have a lot more items on here now, as you can see. And at the top, this is our breadcrumb. So you can kind of go back and forth through it. Breadcrumbs are great for user experience, but also for SEO. If you need both, it's a good way to do it. these are currently made up stats. I don't know which one of our culprits added those, but we'll we'll check those in a minute, chat. Let's see if we got an update here. We did not. Just saying, not seeing it on this page. Okay, so let's go back to our resources page. I don't like this box either. I want to make it a little easier to read the text. Do Alt V because we're pasting into codec or Claude. Say make this box lighter for readability. Looks like there's an update too, so we'll do that after it does this, which is kind of cool. Let's get codecs bumping again. Do codecs and then do /approvals. Switch it to YOLO mode. And let's see what else. So yeah, the resources page is now quite a bit more rigorous. I still have to do some UX updates on these. It's supposed to have a kind of a box feature for those, but those will be much better. We've got to add a little more padding to these as well. So let's throw that to our buddy here. Add some padding. Add some spacing, because remember we don't use specific CSS words unless it's like a legit like, hey, the padding on this button is this or something, right? So add some spacing to the text on this page. I don't know. My prompting skills go down throughout the night, chat. But yeah, we now have some how-to guides. So we have some how-to guides somewhere. I don't know if I like that either, but we'll see. Okay, so it still looks shitty, but it's getting closer. Basically, now if you're using one of these three systems, it will show you how to do so, which is pretty cool. And you get some quick fixes down here. I just got to add some better spacing to this page. They're having issues with this page because it's currently bringing in the CSS file from our dashboard view here. So it shouldn't matter, but it does for some reason. I don't know why. So we got our 1.2 changelog updated here. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that's the thing, chat. But let's just, you know what, if we see a bug, you see a bug, fix a bug, right? Okay, now it's brighter. Actually, I kind of like this vibe. So let's just tell it to use that gradient. Use the gradient from the trial pack. Use the gradient from the trial pack banner. Then we're consistent. We use best practices. I also toned down the purple on these to use this a little bit more. The gradient basically stretches relative to how long it is. So like this long version, you get a deep purple to deep green. Remember back in the day, we did the same thing with like these long ones down here. But if it's a smaller one, then it, you know, goes from that to that. You can set where within here the gradient lives, but I think for now it works enough. we'll add a couple more options to these as well. But by the way, the optimize button now works. So if you are like, tell me a good joke, please, hit optimize. It will rewrite your prompt. And I think this is helpful because, I mean, the AI is pretty smart, right? But if, garbage in, garbage out, if you can send a better version of that as is, then it might solve some problems for us before we even get there. Oh yeah, I haven't checked this out yet, chat. So this is new to me too. So let's see what it looks like on our manage account page, which we now have. Cool, cool. You love to see it. Okay. So I'm going to copy that link and say, oh, okay. So by the way, if it's on localhost and it takes a while, the reason for that is probably because it has to compile that page. And that's what was happening. So if it's on Vercel, it's already pre-compiled, then you don't have to wait for that lag time. But as you can see here, compiled in this amount of time, right? So basically that's saying that it had to compile that page before it was able to show it. And that's the thing that's in the cache too, by the way. So, okay, it's pretty close. We got our thing here. We have our display name now. We have our Twitch handle, avatar URL if you want to have one in there. And then we get your email reset link, which is a good way to do it. We'll add some more padding to this page. By the way, our trial credits thing finally works, chat, as you can see on the top here. Thank the Lord. Our overlay layouts page is much simplified. Okay, I was going to say. So this is auto-generated now. As you go to the page here, you can say how many co-hosts you want as a modal now, as opposed to before you had to do that as a separate page. I think that's just easier. And then if you want to do the customized layout and experience, you can do all that here. And as you see the URL at the top of the screen, it will update when you save that. So, or it actually auto updates. So see this gap X here? Notice how it changes relative to our slider here. Same with our Y, safe areas. Cool. And then this is much simplified now. And preview your layouts. This is what it's going to look like. I actually want to do like the actual avatar in here too, just to make it easy to use. And we also do, so remember how we had the like multiple, this needs to be smaller, multiple URL, or like I think we called it in the past like rooms. So basically like if you have multiple sessions with your AI, you can still do that. I'm still figuring out the best way to do that. I'm not quite sure yet, but anyway, it's a lot closer. We added 2 avatars today, as you can see on the bottom here. Actually, let's check for Sal. Since this is really slow, it's going to have to rebuild each one of these that we click on. Let's also send this off. What did it update and packaged? Version 1.2. Okay, yeah, good. That's awesome. And I didn't even ask for that, right? So that's the kind of cool stuff that like shit is so smart, chat. And it's good now that we actually have a version control system, kind of. You love to see it. So that'll kick off another build for Vercel. If you go here, you can see it's building that here. But let's check out our previous version of that we just uploaded. So this will be hopefully much quicker. Yeah, much, much faster. Tell me a joke. Okay, we'll still fix that. All right, but on our dashboard page, if you go to our settings, avatars, you can see we added our 2 new ones. We have Aurora and Circuit now. So those are kind of like trippy mode and I don't know, kind of like noir vibes almost. Tech tutorials, coding streams, digital circuit patterns for technical precise streams. Okay. It's kind of fun. And then API keys is much more cleaned up, matches the vibe. Did about 5 passes on our chat integrations. Still haven't fully end-to-end tested this yet, so I want to test that tonight. But tonight was kind of more just like user experience testing and just making sure that we have everything with the look and feel kind of vibing together. I still haven't updated that for voice configuration yet, but the voice clone situation is now, or should be optimized. We have our sound check that we can do now. I haven't actually done the voice clone walkthrough yet, but I'll test that tomorrow. Voice and listening. Now we consolidated kind of the text to speech options along with the this hands-free listening section. So this is where you paste this into OBS and it should be able to pick up the speech of the streamer. And so we don't have to then do a bunch of back and forth on the text to speech. And let's see if our setup guide works. Hey, okay, it's better. So we are on Streamlabs. And so this will give you an easy walkthrough on how to do this. I don't have our support email set up yet. I got to do that. And a couple padding things on here. But this is looking a lot better, chat. That's really encouraging. Actually, I wonder if our resources look better now too. Okay, good. Yeah, so this is our resource. Couple small things, but I think it's a lot cleaner. FAQ is better too. God bless. Okay, this might be good, chat. I do want to get a Discord set up for this. It called it cohost.fm for some reason. So we'll get a Discord kind of support situation going, as well as some of the other pages that we want to do. But to start, let's go back here and community. You can now submit your stream to be showcased here. So if you're a streamer, I gotta update all the UX in this, but basically, yeah, it's just a way to highlight, people in the community that might be using it and get their name out there a little bit. Oh, hey, okay, Kyle of the North, what's up, brother? Guys, Kyle of the North is one of my favorite humans on the planet. And when I say brother a lot, by the way. And I was thinking about this the other day, like, why do I say brother so much? And I think Kyle of the North is going to appreciate this because, so growing up, and Kyle of the North was also a part of a church that we basically called everybody, it's like pseudo cult, by the way. Like, amazing people, but like it was a situation like hardcore Pentecostal, and we called everybody brother and sister, like brother Ken, brother Jimmy, sister Lynn, sister Diane, like literally, like that's what we called everybody that. And I was thinking, like, that's probably why it's like so ingrained in my mind that I just call everybody brother and sister. So it's kind of a vibe. And if I call you brother, like, I mean it. But Kyle's my literal brother in IRL, and love you, man. Sorry I missed your text messages coming through. I'm not getting the notification dings for those, so sorry about that, bud. And Barney Collins, thank you so much for the repost. Really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you. Very, very grateful. But yeah, love you, Kyle. Hope you're having a great night, dude. Thanks, man. That means a lot. Appreciate you. So yeah, that's what we got cooking on this. I didn't even know you watched these, by the way. Thanks for the text, dude. Anyway, yeah. Hope you have a great night, man. So, we want to support streamers. I love streamers. I love streaming environment. And the more I thought about it, like the more this just, I don't know, this thing kind of makes sense, chat. Like, I love this process, and if we can help the community in doing so, I think that'd be really cool. So back to here. I do want to test this tonight, the RTMP setup runbook. I haven't actually done this yet, so we're going to be doing it live, chat. We'll see how it goes. I don't even know if our server is set up for it. One of the interesting things that actually I found out today through, by the way, if you ever want to see a history, and this is something I wish that the CLIs did a better job of, but in Cursor, if you ever want to just see a history of your chat logs, or if you'd like, oh, did I save something, which the blue dot down here means I didn't. So let's go ahead and do that. But you can just go click this little time icon here, show chat history, and you can see all your previous ones. So let's go back to, which one was it? So you can see we've gone through quite a few different versions of these. Okay, this one. So we were using Gemini 3 Pro, right? And it made a really interesting call out in that it said the implementation of platform connections and chat integrations for Twitch and YouTube has been thoroughly reviewed and optimized. Key improvements in optimization. We now support multi-tenancy. So if there's a user that has multiple streams that they want to add these to, or multiple, say they have multiple Twitch platforms that they use, they can do all of them as once, which is going to be cool for maybe like a corporate thing. So like if I know a lot of like corporate accounts have multiple streams that they use, in multiple accounts rather, that they use for different things. So now we can allow for that. And it says refactored both the twitch.ts and youtube.ts to use manager pattern. So we have a Twitch bot manager now and a YouTube bot manager now. Previously, the bots used global variables, which meant that only one user could run a bot at a time per server instance. Now, multiple users can have their own isolated bot instances running simultaneously. We have token refreshing, which is Twitch added automatic token refreshing logic. It doesn't handle the OAuth token expiration automatically, but the new Twitch bot class now catches authentication failures, refreshes the tokens, and uses the stored refresh token. It will persist the new tokens to the database and reconnects them seamlessly. YouTube also has, or it uses the existing token refresh logic to be instance specific and more reliable. And then what it did for the database was it updated our callback route to use a single upsert. So remember yesterday, chat, we learned that upsert means instead of an insert, which adds a new row to the database, an upsert checks to see if there's already one existing and we'll just update the one that's already there instead of adding a new line. So operation for saving credentials instead of multiple sequential inserts. Love it. This reduces database round trips and improves reliability. And so we also ensure that refresh tokens are captured for both platforms. And we now encode the credential values before storing them in integration credentials. So now we have access tokens that are encrypted at rest, which is very, very important. And both the OAuth state validation is supporting our prevents CSRF attacks. I don't have a good way to describe it, so let's go do that quick. A CRSF cross-site request forgery attack tricks a victim's browser into performing unwanted action on a web app where they are already logged in. This attack exploits the trust a site has in the user authenticated session by using an external malicious site, email, or link to forge a request that the victim's browser automatically submits within their valid session cookies. This can lead to things like transferring money, sketchy email addresses, or deleting accounts, so not good. And this is, so there's this concept called CORS, C-O-R-S, which is, as a developer, one of the biggest pains in the ass that you'll probably run into. If you ever hear a developer bitch about something, it's probably one of two things. One, CORS, or two, Kubernetes. So between those two things, I think are most of the pain. And if you have any others, chat, feel free to throw them in. But basically, what we're doing is preventing this, where a user logs in, they get a session or a cookie, right? And then the attacker will give a web page that basically looks like the one that they're gonna, or like a valid one, right? RNSoft or something similar. And then target site proceeds to forge the request that it pulls from when it does the malicious content, and then that code is sent to a third-party site with the credentials that it stole from this. And then you can basically log in as though you're the user, as the attacker. So we prevent that by doing state validation for OAuth. So love that. But the thing I was, long way of saying, chat. The thing that's interesting about this, it says recommendations for production, serverless limitation. Please note that if you deploy this to a serverless environment, like Vercel, which we're using, the chatbot will not stay running permanently because the serverless functions have execution time limits. I think Vercel's is 60 seconds. And for a 24/7 chatbot, you should deploy the app to a long-running server, example VPS, Railway, Heroku, or a Docker container, or extract the chat worker into a separate service. So based on all of that, two things. One, I think we're probably just going to use a VPS. There's a bunch of really, really cheap ones that are like $5 a month. I don't remember the name of the dude. Levels.io. Basically, he runs, and let me pull this up quick on X just to show you what I mean. Yeah, so Levels, if you know this dude, he has all these different sites, right? Photoai.com, pulls in 125 a month, Interior AI, like pretty cool, successful stuff, right? He does all of this just off of VPS. He doesn't do any fancy serverless configurations. He doesn't use AWS. He doesn't do any of the bullshit. Basically, just straight up uses a VPS. And I don't remember the name of the one he uses. I think it's a German company, but they are really good. And so I was thinking for something like this where we needed to just live 24/7 and run at any time, then we can also use that VPN. Let's see if, okay. This is dangerous, chat. VPS from Levels.io. Hertzner. Okay. So it says Photo AI just reached a new record of 150K a month. He has this many users, pretty good profit margin, bootstrapped, him and his laptop. And he straight up uses PHP, jQuery, God bless, and SQLite on a Hetzner VPS with Nginx and Ubuntu. That's amazing, chat. So, yeah, we're going to check them out and see if they have okay, we got a Black Friday sale. That's pretty cool. Love that. So yeah, that might be tomorrow's thing. I'm going to save this over here just to keep that in mind. But basically, we're going to have a 24/7 server running for that. And then we don't have to deal with it we don't have to do a Docker image. We don't have to do any of the bullshit with that. We can just say we're going to keep it over there and have it running. So all that was from Gemini 3 Pro. I've literally had Codex, Claude Code, and Grok all do updates. You know, I asked it like, is this the optimal way to do this chat integrations? Are we doing the OAuth right? And this was the first time it called out that as a limitation, which would have been really painful. So it's just one of those things, chat. Like, even if the model in general doesn't, you know, because like on paper, right, as you saw today from the evals, Claude Code is technically better at coding. Like, it's still the king on most of the coding things. But when you have a smarter model, it calls out things like this that is like, it didn't code anything with this. It didn't tell me anything other than this. But like, once the models get smarter, then it just calls out situations that might be edge cases or things that you don't think about. So very, very grateful for that. And it's just nice to have another brilliant model to throw stuff at, right? Like, so now we have Codex, Claude, and Gemini to do that. And Grok is still my workhorse, like gets shit done fast kind of model. So it's pretty fun. But let's go back to this, and okay, we'll get this fixed up tonight. What was else I want to show you? Also, let's refresh this since we just sent in a update to this. I don't think it did this right yet, but let's check this one. Shit, chat. Okay. We got a little bit of work to do on these, but this will be really good really soon. Stats. Oh yeah, I also updated our API documentation quite a bit. So now we have exposed a API here. So if other people want to build on top of this, they can just use this API to do so. You can show, your practice requests, your practice response, list overlays. So if other people, think this is cool and like what it is, then they can basically, still shitty. Again, it's a work in progress, chat, but basically, they can now connect to our API. It's currently free, by the way, so if anybody wants to use it for stuff, feel free to do so. But yeah, it will, extend to any other platform. So if you want to, create your own flavor of it and just, use whatever you want to extend the platform, you can do that through this. And hopefully it lets people just, build cool shit. And the API is going to get updated all the time. Like this is going to be one of the biggest ways that we're going to extend the platform. So pretty excited about that. I haven't set up any of these emails yet. I got to do that too. Let's add it to the list. Set up emails for all the things. Just as of now, support, API, hello, privacy, Zab, other, and we'll get that going. Developer resources, again, this will be much cleaner soon, but basically it's getting close, chat. Yeah, and then back to the so this is our user panel now. Like I showed earlier, this is close as well. I also made a pass at the conversion flow page. So these should be a lot more ingrained into the models themselves now. So each of these controls, based on the temperament that you set, each of these have their own, they're still broken. Each of these have their own, ways of being set to the models themselves, or to the queries rather. So excited about that. Updated the billing page, so this is a lot cleaner now. Hopefully simpler to use as well. The analytics I didn't change anything on here, but I just made this a lot simpler to use. There's this tool called recharts within JavaScript, and you can basically get, oh my god, make it stop. Fuck that. Dark mode for life, chat. Come on. Are you even a developer if you don't do dark mode? Let's be honest. But recharts is a beautiful JavaScript library that you can make graphics on the fly. So love that. And that's what I know, chat. I think we're getting close. Okay, should probably do something about that. I don't think any of... Is this a thing? Okay, it is. In chat, it's just like, this is the thing that's hard about something like this. Like, every one of these situations that has square corners versus rounded, like you see all of this, bullshit. And you want to fix it all, but you got to just do a little bit at a time. And as you saw from the, I think, 171 file update that we just pushed, like you keep moving forward a little bit at a time. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the other thing, chat, is like, this will never be perfect, ever. And you have to just realize that, appreciate that, and ship it. Because if you're not, like, just get it in the hands of people that want to use it, and good things will happen. If you wait forever, you're going to get passed by. So keep me honest about that too, chat. If you see me just like, hey, you're being stingy with, too many stupid little things, call me out on that, please. Okay, but for tonight, chat, basically I want to take a pass at all of the UX updates. I do want to check the chat integrations here to make sure that these are going. Let's do that to start. At least we can get one of the AIs on that as we do some other stuff. So let's open our console here. So this is our developer tools console. I hit F12 on the keyboard, and then you see how it's blank because everything is already preloaded. So you have to reload the page, and then you'll get your on the network tab here, you can see all of these are the files or the requests, or just a bunch of different images. Basically, what is this page? So the page is made up of this, right? And then it's also made up of this, which is so I clicked on our selector tool here, and you can click on the different thing here, and it shows you where within this that it made those selections from. You can also kind of go up and down. This is called the DOM, the document object model. And basically you can see where the different things are on the page. You can kind of see how it's all put together. So with that said, since we refreshed and we're going to open our network tab, I want to do a thing called preserve log, which basically says that if this gets a bunch of them, it will always keep them in there as it goes. I'm going to refresh one more time, and then click our connect with Twitch, and you're going to get ready for a white screen of death. Authorize. And we get our not configured. Great. Okay. So why did that happen? The thing that's hard about this, chat, and I said this many streams now, like, there's not an error, right? Like, there's no error message. So what happens is we have to add like the equivalent of an error message in logging. So let's go over here and let's give this to, let's try our new friend, Gemini. So I clicked the connect with Twitch button on the, actually, let's just talk through it. I clicked the connect with Twitch button on the chat integrations page and went and accepted the Twitch OAuth, and it redirected back to the page, but it still says not configured on the badge, and I did not get a success banner. Please add rigorous logging using our logger tool and help us understand where this issue is. So let's send that off. It's also pretty quick. So you can see here, like, it investigating the UI. I've been looking at the redirect behavior for Twitch OAuth flow, examining the code structure. So it's going to start with the chat integrations page and then kind of work through which of those are connected to that. Locating the chat component, so it found that. And then so when you see grep, G-R-E-P, grep means like search. in Unix. So basically it's searching for that specific page. It found it, it read it. Now it's just going to go through that list. Let's check YouTube. I think we still need to set up our, yeah, okay. So I still have to do something on, I still don't know what that is, by the way. Something with the scope of this. But I don't want to do that on stream because I'll have to hide my screen for all the API things. But we will get that looked at next time. But in the meantime, let's see. So since we have that kicked off over here, let's go to our issue list. Oh yeah, I'm working on this clip too, by the way, when I literally had this like monologue about like, yeah, Chad, if I can help you make less mistakes about startups, you know, I only make like 30% less mistakes now. And then I alt-tabbed into my env.local and showed everybody, and I had to like swap out 9 API keys. So shit happens. Okay, so I do want to do something around the ability to have I'm going to open this, go to our page here, or rather go to our co-host page and give the user the option okay, so we're not hearing it, and we also want to give them an option for the voices for the different ones here. So let's do that with our friend Codex here. So let's say on the co-host page, please review the drop down for the voices that we have given the user and add them to the avatar. What do we call these? To the build your team flow, so the user can see what different voices would sound like as they do the test. Also explain that we have many more. Okay, we'll kick that off. And by the way, chat, what we mean by that, so on the settings page, voice configuration. So now for each of the models, or for each of the AI co-hosts, so we have our Google TTS, which you can now select. I don't love this UI either, but so check out how good this sounds, chat.
Hello, this is a voice preview sample.
Damn.
Hello, this is a voice preview sample.
I mean, that's better audio quality than mine. Like, that's crazy good.
Hello, this is a voice preview sample.
U.S. English male, not too talkative tonight. But anyway, as you can see, there's quite a few from the list, and also it's international, right? So if you want to choose many different voices, you have the option to do so now. We actually have even more than this, so I think it cleared out some of them. But
Hello, this is a voice preview sample.
Hell yeah.
Hello, this is a voice preview sample.
Okay. Not sure why. Okay. Let's have some of the voices in the are not playing when clicking on the preview option. Review this thoroughly and search online for Google documentation as to which are actually available and reference that as or that for our list. Okay, so we'll get that cleaned up. Oh, and then so that's Google, right? And then 11 Labs, which let me throw in the API key here quick. One sec. Okay. One sec, chat. Okay, so I added the API key here. So you can see here we have 11 labs now saved as our API key. We encrypt that on the database. And then we go back to voice configuration. We don't see the error message, which is good. And then if we go to 11 labs, so these are all of just, not all, but kind of a sample of like the 11 labs ones. So check these out.
Regret the things that I've done than the things that I've not done.
Damn, right?
I'd rather regret the things that I've done than the things that I've not done.
Preach, brother.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how to live.
Amen.
As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Bill. Spittin'.
Life without love is like a tree without blossoms or fruit.
Kind of gay.
Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none.
Also good.
The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be the beginning. The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be the beginning.
That's bars, chat.
Gratitude is riches, complaint is poverty.
Okay, close enough. But anyway, it's fun, right? Like, there's just so many different options, and you can mix and match against all of them. And I love it. It's ready to rock. So let's update that there. Billing still works. Okay. But I say all that to say we want to get that on here as a way to get our team assembled and show what options that they have available for the text-to-speech part. Okay. So hopefully that's kicked off in the background. Actually, let's go to here. Open up this one again. Co-hosts. And so now we're back on a local host, which means that this is our local server. So you can see here, I have on the left Codex, in the middle Claude, and on the right we have our npm server. So npm run dev is how we do that. And then once you do it once, chat, you just hit Control C. I think on Mac it's also Control C, and then just up arrow for the previous command, and you just hit enter. And so then it kicks off our local environment, our local web host, and on port 3000. So as we reload the page here, if actually Codex is still trucking on that, so we'll wait till it's done on that, but that's where we'll see the update once it's ready. And I do think there's some like caching issue locally, because notice how like our dual RTMP setup here is looks pretty shitty on our page here. So if we take that URL, it looks not great, but it's a lot closer, right? So there must be some caching issue or something. So what that means is we'll probably, and actually this is a good learning lesson, chat. Once this is done cooking, I'll show you a way to hopefully resolve that. So another thing we wanted to do was update Claude here. So what we're going to do is grab, since it never fully auto updates, I don't know why. It might be a permissions thing. So let's Control C and then right click to paste. So see how it pasted as 2 lines? Sucks, right? So let's delete all the spacing in front of this and just say npm I, which is npm install G for global, and space Anthropic Claude code. And then now when we do our Claude YOLO mode again, we can see the update. And I think it's like slash what? I want to see the updates, but I don't remember what the command was. Release notes. Okay, so if we go to /r for release notes, you can see what was updated. Fixed image files being reported with incorrect media types when format cannot be detected. Okay, that's not as fun as I wanted it to be, but let's go back here and say add padding. Add spacing, remember, because we're going to say neutral words. Add spacing to the top item in the, what do you call that? Accordion? And then what else? Let's remove these. Oh, okay. It's a checkbox. Well, that's not super clear, but I like it. Get your unique audio tap credentials from the control panel. This key securely links your stream to HostFabric so the AI can listen in real time. Open the control panel in settings, voice listening, copy stream key. The control panel automatically appends room ID and signature pairing. Keep this key secret. Okay. Okay. Add HostFabric as a custom RTMP destination in the Prism Live Studio. Streamlab settings outbound. I love this chat. Okay. So first, let's say also for the sub bullets here, remove the white versions and use the blue ones, but add more spacing. And then we're gonna Alt V for the image and then let it rock. Okay, so ChatGPT is done. It says voice showcase added. Team Assembly now keeps a curated voice presets list with provider IDs, scripts, and tags, plus state/cleanup for preview audio, so the build flow can reuse the same dropdown for product exposes, or same dropdown the product exposes. This wires the preview button to API voice preview, tracks interactions, and gracefully handles loading stop errors so the user can actually hear each sample while testing their team. Okay, let's check it out, chat. So that's under co-hosts. Let's go to that. Preview voices while you build. 40 plus total voices. We have Lumen.
You're watching HostFabric live. Let's break down the play-by-play and spotlight your community.
Ooh, chat. Chat, that is sexy. Let's go. Voltage, Journey D. It's a great, great porn name. I don't know.
Hold on to your headsets. The clutch moment is seconds away, and we're calling every beat.
Oh my lord.
Let's unpack the strategy behind that rotation and why it matters for the next push.
I mean, that guy has instantly 10 more IQ points than me.
We're keeping things grounded tonight, sharing stories, spotlighting viewers, and keeping vibes high.
Amen.
Thanks for hanging with us. Drop your questions in chat and let's make this segment interactive.
Cool.
You're watching HostFabric live. Let's break down the play-by-play and spotlight your community.
I like it. Very cool. So two things. Let's screenshot this. Say, love it. Control V because it's, well, hold please. Paste. Or not. That's good too. Come on. Every now and then, Codex just doesn't like images, chat. I don't know why. And I don't want to get rid of this because it has the context of what it just did. So I guess we just got to describe it. Love it. First, add 2 more female voices to the mix. Second, the drop down is a light gray color. Add that, or update it to use, what do we use? Use our site UX for drop downs, or to align it to. Our site's UX for dropdowns. Let's see, chat. Let us see. But yeah, I think that's really cool. And then it shows a few of the different ones. 11 Labs, Google. So does this actually work now? Okay. I don't like that. They should be able to have a... They should be able to have the, or this testing down here. Should they? I mean, it saves us on tokens, chat. I mean, I guess if you look, if you see the UX here, what it can do.
You're watching HostFabric live.
Hold on to your headsets. The clutch.
Thanks for hanging with us. Drop your questions in chat and let's make this segment interactive.
You're watching HostFabric live. Let's break down the play-by-play and spotlight.
We're keeping things grounded tonight, sharing stories, spotlighting viewers, and keeping vibes.
What do you think, chat? Should we, so there's two options. One is you can do the try me here, and it kicks it down to this. So we could just, have these voices be the voice selector drop down here. Or we just keep it as this, and then when we play the preview, we select one of these as random.
Grounded tonight, sharing stories, spotlighting viewers, and keeping vibes high.
And then they kind of do the talking here. Which one do we like better? In the real product chat. Do you see this, chat? In the real product, all 4 co-hosts would respond in parallel. Sign up to try it. That might be my favorite hover I've ever seen. In the real product, all 4 co-hosts would respond in parallel. Oh my god. That's a tweet. I'll do it later, but that's pretty funny. Sometimes vibe coding, you get surprised and delighted, chat. That's a moment of delight right there. Wow. Okay. Well, I think we should kill this. Because this gives, I think, enough value to show. Shows all of the options here, right? And then if we can just get a random one to play, we'll do a little animation on one of them or something as the voice reads out the thing here.
Let's unpack the strategy behind that rotation and why it matters for the next push.
Plus, it's one less thing we have to worry about with this. And honestly, I think it's a good way to do it. So let's do that. Okay. So remove the interactive playground. Looks good, bud. Remove the interactive playground. Section from the page, but also when the user clicks on one of the voices to play, select a voice of one of the 4, or select it avatar from one of the 4, and have it read the text like we do on the overlay page. Also add some, I don't know, what do you want to call this, I don't know, some way to show which of the boxes around the avatar is selected. Okay. And this is good because I was a little worried about this. Like, people could throw some nasty grams in here before we get, them to do so. And I suppose we'll have to remove the try me button here. But then they can just do that down here. Cool. Okay, I like it, chat. Very sexy. And does this do the same thing? Okay. So try a demo will now point to this as well. Also, update the buttons such as try a demo, scrolls down to the build your team section. The other good thing about this is we can save these as just MP3 files, since it's this, and we don't have to call the server every time to do these. It'll be faster, it'll be quicker, and it's not dishonest because it's actually using that voice, right, to do that. So we'll be able to do that in a meaningful way. And yeah, okay. Anyway, I like it. Cool chat. All right, let's go back to Claude. That says, perfect. I've made all the requested changes. Summary of the changes to page.module.css. Added top spacing to the first troubleshooting item. Added a new rule. Troubleshooting first item or first child. So this is like a CSS class that it added. So whenever you see a dot in front of it, that means it's a class. If you ever see a hashtag, that's an ID. So added a new rule, first child. And first child is, I think it's called a pseudo class. So basically like the first item in a nested thing, right? So in this case, when we had the nested, what was it? Nested unordered list, then the things, or it's basically styling those in particular. I don't remember what page. Common issues in troubleshooting. Do you remember what page that was on, chat? Because I don't. Actually, we'll go back to that one too, because we gotta make sure that we update. Oh, it was this page. Okay, so do you see the error, chat? And then, so I'm gonna say, paste this and say, still seeing. Actually, let me confirm that that's not the live one. Okay, so chat, this is another good example of a gotcha. So notice how this is on our HostFabric.ai website. Oh, right. Okay, so this is tricky. All right. I was going to do the cleared thing. Okay, so one sec, chat. Let's let it go through this and I'll show you a way to solve for some of that. By the way, chat, I'm drinking some tea tonight. Got some Harney and Sons mint tea. So I think we streamed for 13 hours yesterday, so trying to keep the voice a little bit more up to snuff. But yeah, hope you're able to relax and have some tea or just beverage of choice tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate you guys. And then on the nicotine side, got a wintergreen loon as a substitute for Zin. because it's a little cheaper and it's a 7 milligram versus 6. So, winning. I feel like most developers are teams in now. And honestly, like, I was out, I did like karaoke on Sunday night. A friend of mine was hosting, and like, back in the day, I had a lot of friends that were musicians and kind of hipstery vibes, and I used to smoke American Spirit Celadons. I loved them, and they have this kind of like charcoal filter, so it's a little bit smoother. And American Spirits take forever to smoke, so like it's always kind of the joke, like we're gonna be out here for 2 hours. But I had a puff of the cigarette, and I'm just like, this isn't even that fun anymore. And I don't do vaping because vaping is too good. Like nobody should start vaping. And if you have, like, I feel for you because I did for a while too. And that shit is hard to quit. Like, it's just so easy. You can do it anywhere. It doesn't like doesn't hit you as hard, and it's too good of a product, so I just don't vape anymore for that reason. Like, I can't, it's too good. And so anyway, Zins are a good alternative. So that's a tangent, but that's where we're at. All right, so as soon as this is done, I'm going to show you what we're going to do to hopefully fix our local problems. Because if you notice here, when we deploy it to Vercel, everything on this page seems to be pretty legit, right? But if we open that one here on our localhost version, on our localhost version, sorry, I accidentally copied the I. It looks like this, right? So that's weird, A. And I honestly sent this to about 4 different coding homies before I realized what was happening. In that I didn't even notice it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I basically sent this every time, and I'm like, fix it. It still looks bad. And they're like, the code is good, dude. I'm like, nope, it still sucks. So what we can do about that is once Codex finishes up here, and by the way, our version of Codex is on the 5 high or 5.1 high, so it's like the extra thinking mode, and it takes a little bit longer to do, but you get really good results from it. So I just keep it at high most of the time. Sometimes I switch it down to medium, but what I've kind of learned is like Codex high and Claude Code are like my feature homies, and now actually probably Gemini 3 as well. But basically, like, if you have a big thing that you just want them to do, like, I need a new page that does this, or like I need a complete refactor on something, I will give that to them. And then Grok is just so fast and so good at like one-off things, or like change the UX of this button, or like remove this icon, or like run a build test and fix the errors that you find, or like clean up these files. It's kind of like my quick and dirty way to do it. So then I keep Codex at the high reasoning model, Claude Code, which uses Sonnet 4 or 5, the same, and everything fast that I need, I just default to Grok for that. Okay, and it's done. It says it keeps a ref on the build your team section. It reuses it for the hero CTA. So try a demo, smoothly scrolls straight into the assembly experience as requested. Updates each try me button to do the same scroll. Then dispatches the existing select co-host custom event so the clicked persona is highlighted automatically in the team grid. Beautiful. I didn't even ask it to do that. That's awesome. Now tracks team assembly now it tracks the selected slot, listens for those select co-host events, and when a voice preview plays, it animates and bubbles the chosen character, adds the visual affordances. Wow, you love to see it. Selected outline, selected badge, and speaking bubble and pulse. Testing not run. Okay. So let's see if it was telling the truth.